Hello everyone, today we're going to be doing an unboxing of some comics. So these are the last comics that were in my pull list before the whole shutdown happened and everything, and before the Diamond stopped distributing, so no new comics are coming out. So this is what was in my pull list. My comic shop was able to send it to me, thankfully. Shout out to Mo Geek Comics, which is my local comic shop over in Mill Creek, Washington. So if you're over in that area and you're looking for a good comic shop, Millgate Comics is great. No complaints with them, and they got me over my pull. So today we're going to be unboxing that, going through the comics, and also not answering, but just going through some comments that you guys have left on some of my more recent ish videos. Without further ado, let's open this, see what's in here, because I don't even remember what's in here. So if I can get through it. Oops, bumped my mic. Let's see. Oh no, I don't have a knife or anything. I got my keys though. Or I can just rip through it. Come on. Come on. Yeah. Alright. Here we go. Let's see what's in here. I'm kind of really psyched about this, to be honest, because I don't even know what's in here. Okay, let's see. I know a few comics are in here besides a few. I don't remember. He put it in sideways. Come on. Come on. I don't want to just rip through the bag. Come on. I'm having a trouble with this bag. The box was easy. The bag is the hard part. Okay, there we go. Okay, let's see. First up, we got Bounty Hunters issue number 2. So Bounty Hunters is a new Star Wars series, if you're not aware, from the guy that wrote Old Man Hawkeye, Ethan Sachs. He does a great job. I read the first issue. Really enjoyed the first issue. It was an interesting setup involving bounty hunters like Boba Fett and what's it called? And the guy, I don't remember his name, but he's sort of a Jonah Hex type guy in the Star Wars universe that was created in the Target Vader storyline, which he's a really cool character. I like him, and there's also other classic bounty hunters like Bosk and stuff in there. And first issue was really good. I'm excited to read the second issue. Let's see, what's the next comic we got up? Wolverine number 2. I like the first issue. First issue was oversized. It's written by Benjamin Percy. I keep hitting my mic. I am sorry about that. I know that's annoying. But first issue was pretty good. It was the series written by Benjamin Percy. The art is done by Victor Bogdanovic and one of the Kuberts. I don't remember which one. What is it? Is it Andy? I think it was Andy. I don't remember. I always get them all confused. I think it was Andy Kubert who's doing it. But either way, art's fantastic. Really enjoyed the first issue, which was an oversized issue, and I'm looking forward to the second issue, which, as you can see, includes Sabretooth. But yeah, Benjamin Percy did a great job with the first issue, and I'm really enjoying his X-Force series. I think he's doing the best stuff with Hickman's relaunched X-Men, so I'm excited to read that. We got X-Men issue 8, and I think this should be 9. Yep. So these two actually are not on my poll. I've read every single issue of Hickman's X-Men, but these, when he emailed me, Russ, the guy that owns the shop that I go to, he emailed me asking me if there's any other comics that I wanted him to throw in there, and I was like, yeah, if you have X-Men issue 8 and 9, because those are 2 issues I was missing, just throw those in there. The reason I haven't put them in my pull list is because I'm not sure how to feel about Hickman's X-Men yet. I really enjoyed House of X and Powers of X, which was the miniseries that led up to his current X-Men run, and that it was done really well. But the current series has been good and bad, and it's kind of weird because the X-Men are no longer heroes, really. They're very selfish and very much about themselves and very much about just keeping the mutants, going. Like, they don't really care about saving people or anything like that at all. So it's really weird, and all the mutants are together now. Like, all villains, like Apocalypse, Magneto, they're all with, Xavier, Cyclops, and there's some other weird stuff going on, like Wolverine and Cyclops might be sharing Jean Grey. That's been heavily implied, which is weird, and it's odd. And also, Death has been taken away. If you're not familiar with the current X-Men run, I might do a video on it, who knows. There's this island called Krakoa that's also a mutant. It's sort of like living the island, so the island enables them to sort of create new bodies for themselves, like respawn essentially. So if an X-Men dies, they can just come back on the island good as new. And they can like put their memories into these new bodies, and they have their powers and everything. They're still just normal mutants, and so there's not really any type of, granted in comics people always come back, but still there's not really any threat to the mutants now because they die and they're like, they just come back. Like, tons of X-Men have already died and come back, but every single X-Men is back already. So again, mixed feelings in the current run. But if you're into X-Men, if you haven't read House of X and Powers of X, definitely read that. That is really good. But the X-Men run itself, kind of weird, kind of a mixed bag. We've got Red Hood Outlaw number 44. I actually just caught up on Red Hood over this whole break that's been going on. I just caught up all on it, and it's not that great. Scott Lobdell is not my favorite writer, that's for sure. I think he's very average for the most part. He killed it on Flash Forward, though. The Wally West miniseries, amazing. Highly recommend that. Scott Lobdell, best thing he's ever written that I've read. Flash Forward, fantastic. Brett Booth's pencils, so good. But Red Hood Outlaw's been I wish they'd get a new writer on it, honestly. Batman Superman issue number 8. Looking forward to reading this. The prior issue was a setup. I actually talked about it in a video not too long ago. But last issue was the setup for a new arc to where Zod... So... what's his name? Ra's al Ghul, the terrible villain that Bendis created, went and killed everyone on Kandor. You know, the bottle city of Kandor. He destroyed it, killed everyone. So Zod's like, crap, that's like, you know, that's the key to bringing Krypton back. So he went and took them all and put them in a Lazarus pit. Ra's al Ghul's pissed about that because no one can just go and use his pits. That's a no-no. So now him and Zod are kind of at war, and Batman and Superman are trying to like stop this and figure out what's going on. And they know putting, as much as it's sad that everyone on Kandor died, putting them into the Lazarus pit is not a good way to go because now, you know, their minds are all messed up. We don't know how Lazarus Pit really affects Kryptonians, so now they have a bunch of like tiny, like sort of zombified Kryptonians that they got to deal with. And so I'm excited to read this issue. And Batman Superman's been really solid, by the way. If you haven't read it, Joshua Williamson's one of the most solid writers at DC. Everything I've read from his, I've really enjoyed. He's a good writer that isn't talked about enough. Last God issue number 6. I think this is sort of the end of the first arc. It's an ongoing series, so it's still going, but I think this is sort of the conclusion of the first arc. Last God is a series that I've been talking about that is amazing. Not enough people talk about. If you're into Witcher, if you're into Lord of the Rings, if you're into Game of Thrones, read The Last God. It's a Black Label book from DC, and it's amazing. It's maybe the best book at DC right now. It's hard to say, but it is so good, and its first 6 issues are out right now. Definitely go read it. Art is gorgeous, writing's fantastic, great fantasy book. If you're into anything fantasy-wise, I think you'll love The Last God. Not being talked about enough, but the people that do talk about love it. And then the last thing I got is Detective Comics 1021. Look at that Lee Biermo art. That variant cover looks really good. I'm excited to read that. That's Detective Comics, ever since Tomasi has taken over it, has probably been the most solid book at DC. It's just been great. There's nothing really to complain about. It's really good. The art on this one is done by Brad Walker, who, if you watched my Best Comics of 2019 video, you know that he was my favorite new artist of 2019, which new artist is like a category I do to where it's an artist that I discovered in 2019. That year, not necessarily someone that's new to comics, but someone that's new to me. And I first discovered him last year on Detective Comics, and he does a great job. I love the way his Batman looks, and him and Tomasi are a great team. So yeah, highly recommend Detective Comics. But that's it. So that's all the comics I got. That's all the new comics I'm gonna have for a while now until Diamond gets back up and running, or DC finds a secondary way, because DC was talking about doing a secondary way of distributing. I don't think Marvel's commented yet saying if they're going to do a secondary way, but they probably are. So who knows how long until we get new comics again. Yeah, but now let's move on to comments. So the first comment is from Dan's Man. He commented saying, just curious, what are your thoughts on the all-out relaunch of G.I. Joe? So I already responded to him, but I wanted to respond even more now, because when he said this, I initially thought he was talking about the IDW comics, because they relaunched some of the IDW G.I. Joe comics, and I thought that's what he was talking about, but he was talking about the toy line, actually. So the toy line, they're relaunching again, because I did a video a while ago saying what happened to G.I. Joe, and I'm really proud of that video, by the way. I think it's really good. If you guys haven't watched it, you should definitely check it out. But anyways, in that video, I'm just essentially talking about how Hasbro does not give a crap about G.I. Joe and has just done nothing with the franchise, and you can't even buy the toys in like Walmarts and Toys R Us and stuff. They're gone. Unlike when I was growing up, they were everywhere. But now they're relaunching it. The Snake Eyes figure actually looks sick. Some of the other stuff looks okay. It's not a huge relaunch. There's not a ton of characters, but they're doing a few. I think the Snake Eyes was already sold out. If it's not, I want to get one because I do want to support G.I. Joe, and that Snake Eyes toy looks sick. As far as the comic itself, I haven't read it because it looked really bad. The IDW didn't really get any good talent behind it. it, and the stuff I've seen, it doesn't look good. Also, sorry if you're hearing a dog bark. That's my neighbor's dog right over there, and that dog just barks at anything. You probably can hear it like faintly in the background. Sorry about that. Next comment is from Mr. DC Comics. He said, the people at DC have no idea what to do with Marv Wolfman's Teen Titans characters. Nightwing is consistently in an identity crisis when he is supposed to be the leader of DC's X-Men team. The Titans have Nightwing, Red Hood, and Tim Drake all in the same book because DC doesn't know what to do with them. Put them on a team with the Titans and you'll have a kick-ass book. I think that'd be cool. The sad thing is, DC for a small period of time didn't know what to do with them with Dan Abnett's Titans and Titans Rebirth. Like, that first volume was amazing. Like, they knew what to do with them. They just didn't want to continue being successful with them. They decided to throw them away. I do agree that DC, for the most part, has no clue what to do with them. It just does whatever. Like, here's Agent Grayson. Now he's Rick Grayson. Oh, Wally West killed a bunch of people. It's like, why? Like, you have people that love these characters know what to do with them. Let those people do what they can. Like, when you have someone like, say, Kyle Higgins, who loves Nightwing and clearly has a love for that character, let him do what he wants with them. Don't force him to just tie everything into New 52 Batman. Or when you have Benjamin Percy, who has a cool idea for Nightwing where you guys decide to have him get shot in the head, and he's like, okay, well, let's do a detective-heavy storyline where he has vertigo, so he has to rely on his detective skills instead of, you know, high-flying through the air. He can't do that now. He's got vertigo. Instead of being like, no, we want Rick Grayson. It's like, okay, Benjamin Percy's out and goes to Marvel because you do that. It's like, there are talented people that love these characters and know what to do with them. Like, Dan Abnett did a great job with that first volume of Titans, and then they just ruined it and they broke apart the Titans. Everyone was so happy to see most of Marv Wolfman's Titans back together in Titans, and then they ruined it and they took them all away, and they had Wally West kill people. They had Rick Grayson get shot in the head. They had Roy Harper get killed by Wally West. It's like, why? And Tim Drake, it's rough. Bendis is in charge of Tim Drake right now, so that's just not good. Liam Fald says, it's sad that as of late, to get true quality Superman, you have to go to almost every other book other than the main Superman books. It's true, Action Comics and Superman are garbage, but the way people are writing Superman in Justice League and Batman Superman is really good. Like, that Superman, those books are good. The way Venditti and Snyder did it in Justice League, really good. The way Williamson's been writing him in Batman Superman, really good. Like, you can get some decent Superman in some other books. It's just the fact that in those books he's not the focal point, so you're not getting a whole lot of it. But yeah, it is really sad that, like, Action Comics and Superman are the worst Superman. The books where he is the focal point. But the books where he's not, he's great, because those writers actually somewhat care about him, unlike Bendis. So it's sad. Nicho Mania 2 says, can't hear the video, am at work, but seeing Superman mods and Arkham games makes me really want a good Superman game. It looks awesome. Me too, man. Me too. I've talked about this before. I've made videos on how to make a good Superman game, and I think the key is not listening to what everyone's saying when they're like, you should start out as a depowered Superman, then work your way up. No, that's stupid. If I wanted to play a Batman game, I would play a Batman game. Don't do that. I hate all these people that are saying, oh, you know, start out depowered. No, I want to be Superman. I don't want to be Batman. Batman in Arkham Knight is essentially a depowered Superman. With how far he can go and all the crap he can do, he is a depowered Superman. So if you give me a depowered Superman, I'm essentially playing Arkham Knight again. Don't do that. I want to play as Superman, and there are ways you can work around that to where you can have him be powerful. You just gotta bring threats that are big enough that make sense for the power level. I was talking about how they should follow the new Krypton storyline. I think that'd make a great game and would be really cool. And yeah, I made a video on it if you want to check it out. I made like 2 videos on it, but yeah, definitely check those out if you want to hear my thoughts on how to make a good Superman game. Jake Smith says, there's no way to answer this question with accuracy. This is my video talking about the best comics of the decade, and yeah, duh, you can't go back and read every single comic of the decade, but it's just like, what's a comic that when you think of the past decade, you really just kept coming back in your head and was like, you know what, I really love that comic. That's essentially what the video was. What kept popping back in your head? For me, is Superman Rebirth issue number 7. That's the comic that every time I was thinking back, I was like, that one kept popping up. I was like, you know, I really enjoyed that comic. Obviously not, this is objectively true, the best comic of the decade. I read every single comic published in the past decade. No, it's just a video for fun. So yeah, don't take it so literal. But yeah, that's it for comments. Thanks to everyone who watched the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Please like and subscribe and all that stuff. Again, Nerd Talk podcast is coming back. I'll have that link in the description if you want to listen to that on iTunes or Podbean. Also, my Discord if you want to join that, and that's also where you can leave me suggestions for video ideas or for Nerd Talk podcast topics. If there's stuff you want to hear me and Ian talk about, leave that in the Discord. I have a channel specifically for that. And also, yeah, I just finished streaming all of Fallen Order on YouTube, and I'll begin streaming another game next weekend. I'm not sure what game yet. Might be Arkham Asylum, might be Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions. We'll see. Who knows? But either way, I will start streaming another game next weekend. That'll be fun. And in the meantime, I'll be streaming on Twitch, which is also linked in the description. But yeah, that's it. Thanks for having a show up for the video, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.